So we are back with a brand new episode of Walkin and Talking with Tim, and today's guest is Meggan Ciaccia. Did I say Ciaccia
You
correctly?
did, absolutely.
You know, always those names like, with the two C's, you never know if you're doing it right.
People off.
Throws people off.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, Meg is the president and CEO of Ciaccia CPA right in Washington Township. So let's start off, Meg, World Meg. Tell everybody what sets you guys apart from the rest of the accountants in the world.
I would like to think that what sets us apart is that we treat your business like our own. You know, we don't just come in and do your numbers. We listen to you. We listen to what your goals are, what you guys are trying to accomplish this year, next year, 5 years from now, and we relate to you. You know, a lot of our small business owners are much like ourselves. You know, we have that small business ourselves. We're a family business. I'm second generation owner. I worked with my father for, I think, 17 years. So when we work with people that are also family businesses, we can relate to their struggles. And we meet you where you are. You know, so many CPA firms have gone completely remote.
Virtual.
Everything is done over portals, over Zoom, and that's not us. If that's what you want, that's great. We make it work. But we prefer to still do that in person and have that connection with our clients. If you want stuff sent through a portal, we'll send it through a portal. If you want to drop it off, if you want to sit down, we kind of see what works for you and we make it work for us.
Exactly. So, culture is important to you. And while we're coming off you explaining what your company does, I mean, you talked about your sister-in-law.
Yep.
Working with you, Brandy, and that you guys are tight, you guys are close, and you're close, but yet your whole team is close, and it's important to you that your whole team has a good experience with their families while they're working for you.
Yes.
So talk a little bit about that.
You know, again, coming from that family business, my dad always made a point to make sure that we were both at stuff for my kids. It wasn't just me wanting to leave to be at a t-ball game. It was also him. So for the entire time that I've worked, it's always been one of our core values. Is that family and making sure that we're still showing up for our family, and not just me and myself. I want my team to also feel like they're able to show up for their family and their children when they have to. I will never tell my staff no, they can't go to their kids' whatever. It could be a ball game. It could be something at school, chaperoning a field trip. The answer is always yes. And if I have too many people out that day, we figure it out. The answer will never be no when it comes to family.
Yes, and I can attest to all of this because Meg is my accountant. And I'm a pain because I'm the one that doesn't want to be virtual. I want the little sticky arrows that say sign here and here's why. So
Tim,
yes.
You don't even want that. You want to come in and we say this is what you need to do, which is fine, right?
Yes. I'm very high maintenance.
Right. It's the extra touch and connection with our clients.
So if you want high maintenance, Meg's your girl.
My team might not like that you said that.
Well, it is what it is, but it's the truth. So you said that your dad's best advice was
to look before you sit.
Exactly.
My dad raised 2 girls, and that advice has saved both my sister and I countless times.
So we're gonna parlay that right into how'd you meet your husband?
John and I were set up on a blind date in 2004. It was May of 2004. I didn't share the whole story with Tim, so some of it's new.
Here we go.
My dad was involved in politics way back when, and we were on a fundraiser, bar crawl kind of trip in Manayunk. And we were on the bus ride back, and we were with 2 financial advisors who are brothers, and we were chit-chatting about mutual clients and stuff, and I jokingly said, do you have anybody that is single? And they're like, yes, we do. And they said, they looked at each other, looked at their wives, and they were like, how about Ciaccia? And my mom's sitting there on the bus going, Ciaccia?
What's Ciaccia?
What is Ciaccia? Because, last name Ciaccia, Ciaccia is the common nickname. And So yeah, they called him that night to see if he could meet us at a bar back here in Jersey. And he was not home. He played rugby for University of Scranton, so he was out there for alumni weekend. And you know, the next week we connected and went out on our first date, and the rest is history, actually.
The rest is history. Well, you know, there's a lot of history, so let's talk about that. You know, you got 2 sons.
Yep, 2 boys.
Logan and Joe.
Joe is 18, graduates high school next week, and Logan turns 17 later this month, and he's finishing up his junior year.
How about that?
Yeah, it's a crazy time.
We're at Red Bank Battlefield as usual. Take a look.
It's gorgeous here.
It's absolutely beautiful today. It's amazing. So your kids are, one's graduating this year.
Yep.
And one's graduating next year. And then you're going to be, well, you're not going to be empty nesters.
No, they're never going to leave.
They're going to college, but
yeah.
So you'll be half empty.
Hey!
You're on candid camera. So,
does that happen often?
Never, actually. But that's okay. We should have got his name, but next time. So you will be kind of empty nesting in about a year.
Yeah, in a year. Joe, my older one, he's staying home for school, going to Rutgers Camden for nursing. Logan will definitely go away. He'd go to California if we let him. So
there's nothing wrong with that.
But there's no rush. Like, I don't need to kick the kids out early. Like, we want to set our kids up for success, and if that means living at home for a little while they, you know, figure out their careers and their path, that's fine.
Yeah. So an interesting thing about Meg is that I know, because I know Meg pretty well, is that she's very chill. Now Meg has told me of times of incidents when she's not chill, but for the most part, even when I've seen her complain or uptight about something, you're never angry, and I never see you get elevated or anything. Like, it's crazy.
I hope my husband doesn't watch this, because he'll tell you it's a lie.
I've never seen it, and that's kind of cool, though. It's a really great quality to have, you know. And you said you're tight with your sister.
Yep.
What's your sister's name?
Sheila.
Sheila. So you and Sheila are tight. You and Brandy are tight. And we talked about the fact that we were both, I'll say band geek, because I was a band geek. We were both in the band. We were in high school.
Yep.
And you said you went to Washington Township High School. And you were in the band, you played the flute, I played the drums, yada yada, you know, and now your kids are in the band.
My youngest is,
which is kind of cool.
Yep, Logan
right?
is.
Just kind of see that happen again.
Absolutely, it's so cool to kind of have something in common, like something that I grew up with and he's growing up with, and you know, he connects with John on the music as well.
Yep.
They go to countless concerts, like the same kind of music. Not my kind of music, but that's all right.
Well, but the thing is it doesn't really matter where the connection comes from as long as there's a connection,
as long as it's coming, right?
As long as it's coming. And we talked a little bit about, you know, what your favorite things to do are, and I asked you what your favorite thing to do was by yourself.
Yep.
And what your favorite thing to do with your family was. And hit me up with those 2 answers.
Right. So one of the things that I really truly enjoy doing by myself is working out, just moving in some way. It's so good for the soul and the mind and your body. For me, it could look like Pilates. I recently, you know, found Pilates and really enjoy it. It could be like we have paddle boards, and we do the stand-up paddle boarding in the summer. You know, I have a garage gym, so you know, just kind of that.
Clears your mind.
It does, absolutely does. And it's funny because we never got to the question of what's one of the favorite things to do with the family. I think we got distracted with something else.
Okay.
You know, with my husband, it would probably be happy hour. A year or so ago, we started, and I don't even drink much, but we started on Fridays, like last spring, going to happy hour. And it's just kind of that nice thing on Fridays, something to look forward to, that connecting with the husband at the end of the week.
Right.
In terms of with the whole family, definitely, you know, we've kind of spent summers down in Wildwood. My in-laws have a house. So just kind of being down there with the kids, doing the water park, doing the rides. Even now it's just different because they're a little bit older. There's no more kiddie rides for them. But still just kind of, you know, being together outside of the house and pulling them out of their bedrooms.
And the coolest thing, I think, out of all of it was because, you know, I kind of put it on you that, you know, the most important thing to you is easily your kids, because you can see it.
Yes.
And I hear it in our conversations anyway. We talked about what was your favorite vacation, and you kind of teetered on a couple of them, and then you landed on one, and let's talk about that and why.
Right. So in December of 21, it was John and me and the kids, and then his brother and his wife, who works for me, and their kids. And the kids, the four kids together, 2 of them were 15 and then 14 and 13. We did a long weekend in Universal down in Orlando, and just the memories from that trip, there's things of that trip, there's images that will never leave our mind.
I saw one.
Like, we just laugh.
The kids dreamt.
My niece will be mortified because I'm sharing the story, but the one night we were out at dinner and the waiter kept saying, I don't know what you're asking for. She was trying to order filet mignon and she was calling it filet Michigan. So now, you know, we often have filet Michigan for Christmas dinner. And she's 18, graduating high school next year, and it will forever be filet Michigan. But the other great thing that came out of that weekend was I had just bought my dad out 6 months prior, and I knew that I needed to start to hire some more people. And one of the things that came out of that weekend was that was the first I talked with my sister-in-law about coming to work for me.
Wow.
So yeah.
And you're also interesting is that you're a rowing girl. You're a rowing girl that didn't necessarily want to be an accountant when you started.
Nope, not at all. I grew up with it. My dad's a CPA. He's had his own practice since the 80s. So you would think that it was something I considered, and it never really was. I went to Rowan, got my degree in sociology, and I was a third of the way through my master's in social work when I dropped out of the master's program and went back to school for accounting. And 20 some years later, here I am.
That's great for all the young people to hear, because you don't always know what you want to do, even when you're about to graduate.
Yeah, I say that all the time. We ask our kids to try and decide what they want to do the rest of their lives way too young. And it's never too late to learn something new and change your path a little bit.
All right, so we're gonna wrap it up with a couple of rapid fire. So, favorite band?
I'm not a huge music person. We saw Alanis Morissette last summer.
Yeah.
She was great. And Joan Jett. So kind of.
That's cool.
If I had to put on music right now, it'd probably be Joan Jett or Pink. Strong women, Tim. Come on.
Favorite movie?
Pretty Woman.
That's a good one. And I guess my last question is going to be, looking in the future, I'm going to pick something out. Where is a place that you have not gone that, you know, before you hang up your traveling shoes, you want to make sure you go to?
Yep.
And why?
Yeah, that's a good one. Not that I've traveled much.
Yeah.
We definitely want to go over to Europe. I'd like to go to Italy.
There you go.
We were talking about doing a Viking River cruise this year for our 20th.
Cool.
And we've pushed it off a couple of years because John's got big plans. He wants to be gone for like 3 weeks, and I'm not cool leaving the kids yet for 3 weeks.
We're manifesting, John.
Right, 25 years.
We're manifesting.
Five more years till our 25th, and that's our plan. So
that's cool.
I definitely, I think Italy, not that I'm Italian or anything, but I think there's so much history and so much to see in Italy that would be a cool place to go.
The architecture alone.
Yeah.
So if people want to get a hold of you, Meg, how do they do that?
A million ways. We're all over social media, right? You know, Ciaccia CPA is on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook. Our website is really easy, ciacciacpa.com. And all the information's there. Email, phone number, contact us form. We'd love to hear from you. Yeah, you're on all the social media platforms, so if you're looking for Meg, you're going to find her. So this was great. Thanks for being on. Yeah, thanks for having me.
We had a lot of engagement just here today. That was very fun. And to everybody out there, keep on walking, keep on moving. Follow me on Instagram and YouTube and everything else out there, all those social media platforms. And we will see you next time on Walkin and Talkin with
Tim Jennings.
Meg. Peace.